Gracie Jane Sinclair. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Is that your real name? Gracie Jane Sinclair?
It is actually not even changed. Like that is what's on my birth certificate. I'm
That is so
lucky.
wild. That's
Right?
wild.
I know.
I was afraid to ask the question because I was like, what if it's a stage name and I blow her cover?
Right?
But I'm
Yeah.
like, I read the name. I'm like, ah, oh,
No, and
that can't
actually
be
when I was younger, people were like, never change that. Like that's gonna be like movie star or some kind of entertainment quality. And here I am today.
And here
So
we are. Yeah.
predicted my
Perfect.
own future, right?
Your parents, they knew that you were
They
destined for greatness.
did. They must have.
Well, thanks for joining me tonight. It is September 11th. We're
Yes.
recording this. I hope to release this in a couple days. And it's funny, like, so a little background. I spent time in local media for a long time. The Weekender, when it was in its heyday, I was in
Mhm.
radio. I had a local radio show where I featured local musicians and played their music. So that show got canceled because the station changed formats.
Gotcha.
So I decided to do this podcast where I interview local musicians and entertainers and things like that because I wanted to stay connected, right?
Yeah.
And so when I saw your name pop up over the last 2 weeks, I'm like, how has she not been on my radar? And I feel like you had a really big year, but
I
and we'll
did.
get to all that. But like, so I saw your name as part of the Steamtown Music Awards. So those are going to be held on Thursday, the 14th.
Yep.
And then the Electric City Music Conference is the 15th and 16th in Scranton. But the Steamtown Awards, um, selfishly, I'm going to say this. I'm also nominated for two awards. But I like to try and see, other categories and see who's nominated and see who's, the best singer, best artist, best new song,
Yeah.
yada yada yada. And I mean, the ballots were like, I want to say stuffed because that's the wrong word, but your name is attached to several categories.
It is. It is. And
Um,
I just when that came out, like I thought maybe I'd be nominated for one or two, which I felt was even stretching it just because I don't know, I guess as a local musician, I forget how many people are watching.
right.
And um seeing those come out, like and counting the categories, like I cried. I was like, there's no way that I was nominated for so many wonderful categories. Like I would be lucky enough to be nominated for one, but I don't even I can't even count how many categories. I don't even remember what it was.
Well, let's count. Let's go through them.
Let's do it.
This is wild, right? So, best
It
new
is.
artist,
That's
uh, best solo slash acoustic artist, best female vocalist, best guitarist, best live performer, artist of the year, best folk American artist, and then also I think the last no, there's two more. I'm sorry. Song of the year,
yes.
and then finally, and then this is new to me too. You're part of a group called Boots and
Boots.
Bangs.
Yes, and our country band was for up for best country act of the year.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk about how we got here because again, shame on me, a guy who should be kind of
Not
uh,
shame on you.
and I should be in tune with what's going on, right? So
There's so much media. How can you be expected to find everybody?
I know, but like the
Wild.
talent you have is incredible.
Thank
Um,
you.
so before we get into all these nominations and kind of the year that you had, talk to me about who Gracie Jane Sinclair is. Where are you from? Kind of maybe your upbringing. Are you from here your whole life? And all that kind of fun stuff. Like, let's get to know you.
I have been here my whole life. I grew up in Mountaintop, Pennsylvania, still here. And I don't know, I grew up in a very musical family and I grew up in a very I don't know, I guess the best word is down home, like very humble, very genuine family of people that just really cared and loved other people and really loved music and just being together. So I don't know, so I grew up with a lot of very genuine feelings that I didn't really know where to put anywhere, just because it's such a big world out there. And being from such a small little area with my small, close-knit family, it's hard to tackle the world as a girl with so many feelings and so many ideas and so much creativity. And growing up on the music I grew up on, like I listened to everything from the 40s to modern, like, so, and also every genre, like classic rock, country, folk, Americana, like everything, pop, like it doesn't even discriminate. And as I got older, you're in high school, you think you have to go to college, you think you have to pay attention to all of the different subjects, and I just wasn't fitting into any of them except for English. And I kind of was thinking to myself, what am I going to do? I mean, I did theater on the side and I always sang, but I never thought anything of it. Like I said, it's such a big world and there are so many constructs that I think people think they need to follow, especially to be successful in this world. But as I got older, I think I got into my junior year and I kind of accepted the idea that I didn't really want to go to college, especially for all of the money that it's worth. And I was like, well, maybe I can make a career out of acting or singing. And I went to an acting high school, actually. So I went to my regular high school, which was Crestwood High School. And then halfway through the day, I would be bused to Kappa, which is creative performance, which absolutely shaped to them today. They are such a wonderful group for upcoming students. And I went there for 4 years, graduated from there as well, which I think kind of gave me my background and a lot of my personality, which I'm really grateful for. And then I kind of got into playing the guitar and singing. And I realized that maybe that's kind of what I wanted to do. So I stopped into a bar and somebody had given me the name of a local bar in Mountaintop. And he asked if I wanted to play a set, and I'd never played a set before. And I was like, yeah, sure. And I went home and I learned 2 hours worth of music. I knew a lot already, but just enough that was perfected. And I went up and I had my first gig and I literally never stopped. And that was maybe 2.5 years ago. So I really haven't been doing it that long because I only graduated high school, not last year, but the year before. And I started the middle to end of my junior year. So it's been a wild, fast, very fast, crazy ride that I am very, very grateful for to be where I am today and for this to be my full-time job. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. So for point of reference, you are 19.
I am, yes.
So that puts you, what you said, like 17.
Yeah.
You said what, 17?
Maybe even 16. I'm trying to think. No, yeah, I guess it was 17, which is just crazy to me.
So, I mean, I can't imagine being a bar owner and seeing a 17-year-old girl walk into a bar and say, I want to play.
And you know what? It's funny. A lot of people thought that, but Mountaintop for certain bars are very close knit with the people in the area and everybody knows everybody. And I'm lucky enough to have already had my name out there in the Mountaintop world. So it started off in a very confined, concentrated area where everybody knew everybody and we knew the owner. I knew him through some other personal friends. And I think he had heard my name a couple times and knew that I might be a good draw for that bar. And I think he also wanted to give me a chance. And you know what? I am very grateful for him because I would not be playing. I mean, I popped in to 2 gigs that other people were playing. One was with Whiskey and Woods, and I absolutely credit them for my performance start. They called me up for a gig and I ended up playing the entire night with them. They are such wonderful guys. And that was kind of the start of maybe thinking I wanted to do something with that. And then earlier, maybe a year prior, I went on vacation and I saw a band and they asked if anybody wanted to come up and sing a song with them. And I actually sang I Can't Make You Love Me by Bonnie Raitt. And that was the first song I ever performed in front of people in a setting like that. And in a setting like that anyway. And
Right.
So I still perform that song to this day because it means so much to me. That and Landslide was the first song I performed with Whiskey and Woods. So that song also holds very, very important to me. And I almost always perform both of those at a gig. So
That makes sense. I can definitely, yeah, that makes complete sense.
You know?
what did your parents think about the fact that, you mentioned, and I agree with you, college isn't for everyone. Um, and maybe, and hopefully, this generation is kind of, my parents, I'm 40. I
Mhm.
feel even weird talking to you right now. I feel like I could, it just, the age difference is so huge, right? We're in, much different, points of our lives, right?
Yeah,
But I was raised, go do well in high school, get good grades, go to college, get good grades, get the job, get the house, get the white picket fence, yada yada yada, right?
or
And and my generation, if you didn't go to college, you were kind of viewed as like a loser to a
yeah,
degree, right? Um, and it's a shame because, and I mean, our parents wanted the best for us. So what, I'm not knocking our parents. Like, I
yeah,
love my mother and my late father. Um, they wanted the best for me, right? I'm not talking shit or not talking negatively on that
absolutely.
thought process, right? But I mean, you see what happens, like, the trades right now. I mean, they're
Mhm.
lacking help. They're lacking people to, be plumbers, be electricians, be all
Yeah,
those things that are great paying jobs. They're like, we need people to do these things.
yes.
Um, so so what I'm asking is, when you're like, I'm not gonna go to college, like, were your parents like, okay, that's cool. We're gonna support you no matter what.
Well, at first, I think it was kind of a shock, like you said, like it, especially even from like you said, when you were a kid up till now, like college is just kind of viewed as the standard. Like if you don't go to college, you're probably not going to make anything of yourself in this day and age, and I think that's total bullshit. I mean, looking at what I'm doing now, I just don't think high schools or even the information on the internet today gives us a good enough idea of what is actually out there for young kids coming up. You think you have to decide exactly what you want to do the rest of your life at 18 years old, which is
Nuts. Nuts.
ridiculous. And you know what? I'm lucky because ever since I was young, everybody knew I was going to perform in some way, shape, or form, even before I knew. And like as I got up closer to graduating when I was 17, like I already knew that I was gonna do some kind of art. So I was like, maybe I'll go to school for acting. I think that might be a good shot for me. And my parents, they were like, whatever. I was looking into it, already looking to applying for scholarships. And I got into a lot, and I did apply for a lot of scholarships until something about it, like I didn't lose interest, but I just got to the point where I was so exhausted with the craft that I was like, I don't know if I can do this for the rest of my life. And I think that's because I already had started performing out at gigs. And I didn't even realize at the time that that was going to be what I was doing. And as I just continued doing it more, it became less of a side gig and it became more of I have to do this every weekend because it's who I am.
Mhm.
And I've been a songwriter as well since I was in 6th grade. Actually, like you'll find little scraps of paper in my mother's drawers from when I was 5, writing really strange song lyrics because I was just creative that way and they
Yeah.
never make sense, but and I was always creative in that way and putting my energy towards that. So that was also an outlet to show people my original music and be able to connect with people that way. But to me, connecting through music is a lot different than connecting in any other way in this world. It's so much more intimate, which I
Mhm.
almost enjoy more, being so genuine and growing up in a genuine space, so humble. Like I enjoy that genuine connection. So when I didn't want to go to college, my parents were like, "Well, what are you going to do? Like, you have to have a plan." And I was like, "Well, I don't know. The career that I want to go into kind of is unplanned. Like, that's the whole thing about the career. It's an unplanned situation, and I have to be okay with that. And I just have to understand that if I really want it bad enough, I'm going to go after it." I think people that don't have enough passion don't do well in a career like this, but I think people that do have the passion and the genuine love for it will absolutely go far. So I always tried to convince myself that. And as my mother saw me in the end of my junior year, beginning of my senior year, like getting gigs for myself and starting to play like 3 times a week. I quit my day job. I used to work at like, I mean, I've been working since I was 14, probably, in just like fast food or retail. And I was able to quit my job and I started really doing that on the weekends. And I think her watching me pave a path for myself made her say, okay, I I think that you can do this. And I think I'm okay with you not going to college, but you have to be able to support yourself. And I said, I will.
Hmm.
And he was then after that able to help me. I mean, she's a financial coach as well as a massage therapist. So I'm lucky to have that financial side of things. I don't know if I would be able to do that if I didn't have the financial knowledge I have as well. Um, but I got really lucky with the support I have. And it's not just like my mother and my father. I am very close with my whole family, my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, and everybody goes out of their way to support me. Like, actually, like so many of my family members were like, oh, we have to get tickets for the Steamtown Music Awards. It's like, we're not all going to fit in there. There's too many of us.
Pack the house. Let's do it.
Yeah, maybe we should. I don't know.
There's a tent outside. Vinny and Frank, they do it up. There's a huge tent outside for any overflow.
There's
Bring them
be
all.
so standing on the bar, and you know what? I think that's okay. But I just have so much support. And like I said, we grew up a really musical family. So them seeing me finally choose to pursue something like that, I mean, of course they were worried, but they wanted to be supportive. They wanted nothing more to like let go of well, what about this? And just to be like, yes, we love music. We're so happy that someone in our family is able to do this. So when I got like some of the really big gigs I had this year, like I just remember like telling my family and watching them get so emotional and like be so proud because they've always wanted nothing more. They've always wanted nothing but the best for me. So
Sure.
some of the past gigs that I've had, they're like mind blown, and it's just so wonderful for all of us to just sit and enjoy it and like really like revel in it.
Let's talk about those because like I said earlier, you've had a pretty big year. Um,
Love area. It's been a lot.
yeah, talk about those. I was creeping on your social media a little bit, but you can obviously tell the stories far better than me, and that's what I want to hear. So talk about the year that has been 2023 for Gracie Jane Sinclair. And I want to really quickly, I'm sorry for going back, but
Oh, not at all.
yeah, you said that the path you were going to take was kind of like flexible, like you didn't really know, but like it sounds like you really had like you had a plan. Like you were very you knew what you had to do. You kind of was like you weren't like, oh well, it'll just come as it comes, like no big deal. Like you went out and kind of made a lot of this happen. So
Oh, absolutely.
that's amazing. That's awesome.
And I think a lot of people do believe that if something's right for them, it'll just come to them. And I think that's 50%. And I
Sure.
must say, I I'm actually a big manifester. I try to work with energy. I think I have my whole life. So that's a big part for me as well, like really setting intentions and like using my energy. But in those intentions, I also work so hard.
Hmm.
I work so hard that sometimes I come home at the end of the day and I have ice on 3 of my limbs, and then the rest of my body is in a hot bath because I'm in so much pain. But that's because I work so many nights a week, or I do my best to. Like sometimes I'm working 5 nights a week, sometimes three, sometimes I'm working 7 days a week. A lot of the times it's 7 days because of advertisement, booking, talking to people, like going out of my way to make contacts with people, and then also the actual practicing and
Sure.
the actually going to the gigs and setting up and tearing down. Like I don't have anyone for that. Like it's me. I never had any kind of management, and it's hard. It really is a
Hmm.
difficult path. Like I think people think I'm just a singer, and that is such a common misconception. I work incredibly hard, and I know so many people in the industry that also work very, very hard that don't get enough credit that they deserve. I know so many people that are working so hard that they barely get to see their friends anymore. So sometimes you just get really close with the people that you do play with or come to see your gigs because those are the ones you're seeing the most. And that's okay as well. But yeah, I've been working really hard. Like every place that I play, I reached out to, or somebody that I have worked with many times or worked hard for a contact has given to me or recommended me to. So it's not just, it's not just it's going to come to me. It's
Right.
going to come to me, but through the work that I've put in. So
Exactly.
yeah,
It's amazing. And you know, it's a shame that there's so much pressure put on kids who are 18, graduating high school, and like you said before, forced to kind of figure out the rest of their life at that point. I
it's
mean,
sad.
youth is there's a quote, and I'm probably gonna screw it up, but like youth is wasted on the young. Is that
Mhm.
is that the quote?
It
Um,
sounds familiar, so I'm thinking maybe.
no, I mean, like now is the time to fuck up. Like
Yeah,
because you
it is.
have and like you have the support system, like God forbid, like let's just say, hey, you know, you gave it your all for 4 years and it's just not working out. Like
Exactly.
but you at 23 years old, you're still have so many
Young.
years ahead of you, so young.
Yes.
It just like, but now is the time to take those risks because you have support systems, you have people in your corner that are going to pick you up if
Yes.
you need to be like, and that's I don't think I mean, it goes back to before what I said. Like, you know, parents just want the best for their kids, right? I mean, I have two children. I'm 5 and 1 years old. I don't know how I'm going
Uh,
to be when they're in high school and things like that. I have no idea. I'm hoping the
it
landscape of education is completely different by that point. But like,
is.
but yeah, I mean, like now is the time. Like you're at your age, now is the time to take those risks and figure it out. And if you fall on your face, get back up and try again. And if you fall again or however many times you have to fall to be like, okay, maybe this is not the right path for me. Maybe let's try something different. But like now is the time, and I really love the fact that you're just owning that and just like let's
Yeah.
give this 110%.
And you know what? I also think it's a common misconception that you can only fuck up when you're young. I think that life has, what's the word I'm looking for? I feel like there's too much pressure on everybody and anyone in this day and age at all, whether you are 14, whether you are 85. I feel like it's too much, and that we're just people. We're just human beings. And of course, we're going to screw up. We're going to screw up a million times. I've already
Yeah.
screwed up a million times, and I'm only 19. I'm going to screw up 1.5 billion more times before the day I die. And I'm okay with that. And I think I learned that through singing, actually, because you go to a gig and you sing a song, and every single time you sing that song, it's going to be different. It's not going to
Yeah.
be the same.
Yeah.
Every time it's going to come across differently because of what your voice does that day. It's never the same. And there are going to be some nights where you perfect a song better than you think you've ever sang it, and you think you're never going to sing it that good again. And then there are nights where you fuck a song up so bad that you hope you never have to sing that song again. And that's okay. And I actually love that about music because it's so fluid and it's so unique in that way. But I think people should be allowed to screw up till the day they die as long as they know how to pick themselves up after. So many people screw up and think it's the end,
Mhm.
especially if they are older and they think so much time has passed. They're like, well, what do I do now? I'm already at this age. There's no use. No, there's always a use. It's just life. It's just life. We're all going to die at some point, but we're all also going to live for a long time. So make the best of it and don't worry too much.
Yeah.
Worrying too much is what's going to kill you. It's so sad. I see so many of my friends from young to old. I have friends all over the map. I have friends that are 80. I have friends that are my age or younger. And everybody worries. And I worry too. We all worry. But like I said, it's just life. No matter what field you're in, and no matter what choices you make, there's a way to make it easier and to just smile about it. And there's always a way to fix the situation or just enjoy it. Too many people don't enjoy it.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, life is hard. I mean, it's harder now than I said this before. My parents'
Harder.
generation. What's
It
that?
does. I said it just gets harder and harder. The more time drags on,
Yeah,
especially as the years progress, like as we go into an age where there's more media and there's so much content and so much happening, it's overwhelming.
it
How can
is.
people not be stressed, you know? It's hard.
Yeah, and mental health is obviously a big thing these days, and I'm glad there's a lot of attention to that because
Me
I
too.
mean, our parents, when they were growing up, they were able, like, I mean, the phone was their biggest source of communication, really, right?
Yeah.
They went to work, they came home, they weren't attached to their cell phones and social media and what's Susie doing and she's doing X, Y, and Z with her kids. Or am I
Yeah.
being a good mom? Am I being a good dad? Am I doing enough with my children? Like we're constantly seeing these things through our screens and thinking like, are we doing enough? Like it's just
Exactly.
it's overwhelming. It's a lot. And for you to recognize that at such a young age, I mean, kudos to you.
I always say my phrase is I've been old since I was little. And I don't know. Sometimes I just think I've lived a couple lifetimes because I am proud to say that I do have a good head on my shoulders and I'm pretty good at making good decisions. And even if those decisions aren't good, I do have enough self awareness to know that at the end of the day, there is going to be a consequence, and that's okay too. Sometimes you have to live through those consequences. But I always said I wish that, especially with my career and being so busy all the time and barely being able to reach out and talk to friends, I wish that I was alive in a time where I could see a friend out, and if I'm going to talk to a friend, I need to call them on the landline.
Hmm.
And then if not, I'm just going to see him out because I've lost actually so many friends, especially from high school, just because I have the career of an adult. I work an adult schedule, and so many of my friends are now in college and they're on their phones all the time and texting all the time, and I am not. And when I am on my phone, I'm texting contacts that I need for business, or I'm creating content that I need to for advertising. So I don't really have time, and it's painful to watch people walk away because you are busy and you don't have the time. But there are also the people that do understand my brain and say, hey, I get it. You're busy. I'm going to see you when I see you. And let's like schedule a day, maybe in a few weeks, and go out to dinner. And I love that because
Yeah.
that's how I just with being so busy. But it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot to find today.
Well, they say like entrepreneurship is a lonely road, and I mean, you can view yourself as an entrepreneur, like you are your own brand and your own thing. I mean, you're a musician, obviously too, but yeah, I mean, if people aren't with you when on your journey, then
Then so be
so
it.
be it. So be it.
Yeah. And I'm
Exactly.
okay with I really am.
Yeah.
I hope that the people that I care about are going to stay with me, and the good ones are going to stay with me and understand. And the ones that aren't ready for that, that's okay. Then
Yeah.
you're going to go on your own way, and I'm going to think nothing but kindness of you. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the way you carry yourself, obviously, is of an older, experienced person, which is great. Your voice, not old. Don't take it the wrong way. It's not old, but it's what's the word I want to use? It's like it's weathered. I don't know what you call it, but it's beautiful, right?
Thank you.
Um, so yeah. I mean, like again, like you look young and you are young, but like all these other things are like just the way you carry yourself again. The mindset you have is just, I think, just beyond your years.
Thank
Um,
you.
I'm sure that's played into the year that you've had. I want to get back to that because
Yeah.
we kind of got off on tangent. And that's my fault, but
Oh, that
you've
might have
had
been
a you've had a huge year, and I want you to talk about that because there's some great moments there.
absolutely. Like I said, I'm very blessed, and I just it's still all unbelievable, especially because I did start not so long ago. And I have so many people to thank for this year. Like, I could not have done this without some of the wonderful, wonderful connections I made. So I guess I have to start with October of last year. Um, my friend now, one of my closest friends, Ben Roper, saw me in a musical. He is a bass player in the area. He's actually up for a nomination as well. He's incredible. He saw me in a show, and his band that he played with, Boots and Bangs, had an opening for another female singer and a acoustic guitarist. And I'm not a great guitarist. I just am simply acoustic. So the fact that I was nominated for best guitarist is not only hysterical, but bullshit. I'm so
Hey,
sorry.
whatever.
I just that is ridiculous. And if anybody voted me best guitarist, I'm gonna be really upset because it's a lie. And that's not true.
Hey, I'm up for podcaster and podcast of the year, and that's like,
No, but
you
that's
know,
great. And that's what you do. I'm a singer and I'm not
yeah,
a player.
I can
But
barely talk in public, rather, let alone, as an interviewer. So I mean, like, I love it. I won a few awards. They're back here, uh, in the past, but yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no problem. And he reached out and he said, "Do you want to maybe come audition?" And I was like, "Sure." And you know what? I had never been in a band before. I had only done acoustic solo stuff. And I was like, you know what? You only live once. Who knows what this will bring? And I kind of was trying to go on the track of just like myself. And I thought maybe being in a band would steer me wrong. But I went in, and that audition, it wasn't even an audition. We all sat down and whipped out our instruments, and they were like, they sent me a small list of songs to learn. I luckily knew a lot of them already because it's a country band and I listened to a lot of country growing up. So I was pretty much ready, and I immediately got along with everybody. I'm lucky enough where I can almost get along with most people as long as you're nice. And we got along immediately, and our band chemistry was really, really wonderful. And I left that day, and I wasn't sure what I'd hear back because there were so many of them in the band, and I didn't know if I stood up, especially because I was young, the youngest person to be considered for the band. And they texted me that I was in if I wanted it. And I was still kind of going back and forth on it, but I was like, yeah, I mean, I'd love to see where it goes. And immediately we all became friends. I have made some of my closest friends from being in this band. And I am so grateful. Like, the one person I always go back to is Ben. He is one of my closest friends. And I, not only him, but I have become very close with his wife, Liza. She is also one of my closest friends, and we do a lot together. And just having so much support from that band is wonderful for most of the members. And it's a wonderful feeling because there is a lot of jealousy from the community, which is hard to deal with sometimes. Especially because sometimes you can do everything right and it doesn't matter because in somebody's eyes they're still going to be jealous, which is really sad. So most of my band is so wonderful and so supportive. So I ended up doing that, and then on my own time I ended up meeting um Chris Shrive, who is a big name in the area, and
Yeah.
he performed once and offered um the Guitars and Stars gig that we performed together. So for him to come out and see me play once and offer me that gig is mind blowing to me because he barely knew me, but he just liked my voice.
You know, yeah, I mean, like a lot of people, I'm sure do. Like they just know.
Thank you. And you know what? And I don't see it that way. I mean, it's just my voice. I've been singing forever. So I just hear what I hear every day. So when people go out of their way like that, it's shocking every time. Every time I am so grateful and so blown away. And we became good friends through practicing and getting ready for that. So then we opened up for some big names like Jelly Roll, Brett Young, Craig Morgan, Jackson Dean, and Shane Prophet. And I got to meet all of them. They were all so wonderful. I sat down and ate a cookie with Jelly Roll, and he was so nice. And a lot of them actually came up to me after I performed and thanked me and told me how wonderful of a job I had done. And that was enough to make a lifetime, you know?
Well,
So,
yeah, so I saw that. And so my full-time job is at Axelrad screen printing.
okay.
We print a lot of t-shirts for
Yeah.
bands, businesses, whatever.
What? T-shirts from you.
If you need anything, hit me up. We'll talk. I'll give you a good deal. Um, no joke. But so
Perfect.
I did work with Odyssey, KRZ,
Okay.
who puts on the Guitars and Stars, right? So they're in my office, and one of the reps there said, "Oh, we have Jelly Roll coming this year," and I'm like,
Who's that?
"Who's that? I don't care, right?" So sure as shit, maybe a week later, he's on Joe Rogan.
Yes.
I mean, Joe Rogan is one of the reasons why. I mean, not only did I want to continue to be involved in the local scene here and
Yeah.
beyond, but like Joe Rogan is a huge inspiration of mine. So then I saw that, I'm like, oh, I gotta check out Jelly Roll now, and I listened to his music, and I'm like, this is pretty decent.
Yeah.
So yeah, then I saw you on social media when I was looking up. I'm like, she's like 1 degree away from Joe Rogan. Like this is
I am. I'm one degree.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
And it's wild. And he was so nice. They were all very nice and very supportive. Like
Yeah.
actually Jack, who I fell in love with his music after hearing him there and then going on my way after and just like listening on Spotify. He was the first one. He actually snuck up to the rafters to watch my performance alone by himself, and he watched the entire performance. And he came up to me after and he was just like, "You are incredible. You have a very, very, very beautiful voice. And I think that you're going to go somewhere." And just hearing that from somebody who is recognized by social media and is getting their name out there already and doing what I want to do, like that means a lot.
It should.
So, and after, so I can't even skip over that so quickly, even though I am going to right now. But so touching to be honored and picked to do that, you know, like life changing, absolutely. And after that, I was like, well, I'm not really sure what's going to come after that. I don't think you ever know because, like I said, this industry is so fluid. It's so ever changing, and you could play a gig, one of the biggest gigs of your life, and not do anything for the next 2 years, and then play
Here
another.
today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. You never know. So I was like, okay, that has to be the one big thing I do. And then I did a bunch of shows, and like I'm very involved in community theater, not so much anymore being so busy with what I do. And I was in a production of Grease at the Little Theater of Wilkes-Barre, and I was playing Sandy. And one of the people, I don't know if she's on the board, but I know she works very closely with Little Theater. I know she does advertisement for them. She is also one of the main booking agents. I think she is the head, like, coordinator and planner at Mohegan Sun, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
She saw one of the nights of the show, came up to me after, and she was like, and I think she knew prior and like saw me in this, but she knew that I was a performer as well. She was like, "Hold this date." And I was like, "Okay, for what?" She's like, "I can't tell you yet, but hold this date. It's going to be very important. And if we can do something with this date, you just want to hold it." And that's all she could tell me. So my band actually had a gig booked, and I was like, "Guys, I have no clue what this is, but like just stay with me, because if I can, obviously I'll be at the gig, but if it is for something that sounds big, then I might have to miss out." And you know what, there are 3 lead female singers along with a couple other male singers in the group, so they weren't going to miss me for one night. But she ended up saying, "Put together a portfolio, just send me a picture and then some of your favorite videos of you singing some heavier, beltier stuff. Write a bio and please send it my way. We have somebody coming to the casino that we'd love for you to open for." And in my mind, like, how big of an artist is going to come to Mohegan Sun? You know,
Right.
I was like, "Okay, who is it?" And she was like, "It's more of a rock artist." So I was like, "Okay." And I put my stuff together, and you know what? It was bullshit. Like, what I put together was absolute bullshit. Because you never know. I was like, "Okay, so I'm just going to send in these videos." And not that they were bad, just if I had known who it was, I think I would have sat there for days deciding what I had put together. So I said after the fact, maybe it was better I didn't know who it was, because I was picked anyway,
Yep.
but just a more genuine version of me, which I always like to stick to, especially doing what I do. I just like to market the most genuine version of myself to people. And I sent her my stuff, and she goes, "Oh, and also, so I sent it over. Great. We'll let you know if we hear anything. By the way, it's Pat Benatar and her husband, Neil Giraldo." And I was like,
What?
I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah. Don't mind. Yeah. You can just pass by that. Don't worry." So I was horrified hearing that and overthinking everything I had sent. And she had to send it right to their team. So it's not even like she just got to pick. She had to send it to their team for them to view, for me to be verified. So Pat and Neil had to sit down with their team and watch the videos of me. And I think that there were other people that were submitted as well. So I was like, "There's no way I'm going to get this. Like, there's no way." And I had not heard I'm not sure on the timeline. I believe it was around 2 weeks. If it wasn't, it felt like 2 weeks, if not much longer. like just waiting and hearing nothing. And I hadn't heard for so long. And I was just like, I didn't get it. Like, whatever. I just have to be okay and accept the losses that are going to come with this industry as well. And I'm pretty well seasoned to that. And that night, because I am a little manifesty, a little witchy, I lit a candle. I do my intentions and I visualize what I want coming to me. Because that's all you really can do. Like, especially in a situation like that where you can't do anything more. It's already up to fate.
Yep.
And the next morning, she messaged me and she was like, Gracie, if you have a chance, if you can give me a call today. And I was like, that doesn't sound like good news. Jesus Christ. I was like, that's it. Nothing. I didn't get it. So I called her with like, my stomach was dropping. She's like, hi, Gracie, how are you? I was like, oh my God, I didn't get it. I was like, I'm wonderful. How are you? She was like, I just wanted to call you because I think it sounds better to say over the phone that you're going to be opening for Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo. And those are the exact words she used. And I will remember that quote until the day I die. And of course, I immediately squealed and I just thanked her a million times over and over again. I hung up the phone and I just sat there in, I don't know, pure joy, pure overwhelmed excitement with just tears running down.
Yep.
I wasn't even crying actually at that point. Like there were just tears running down my face. Like I can't even describe it as crying. They were just like they had to come out of me. I was just sitting there like, and then I started sobbing and I texted my mother and she was like, and she didn't believe me, of course. So then I told everything that I'm close with. And we celebrated that for months until the day it actually came. And there was so much that went into it of picking the songs, which is so stressful, picking the outfit, making sure you look good. We got shirts made from Axelrad.
Okay, cool.
I know, right? And the day came. It still hadn't hit me until I walked in for mic check. And they were doing the mic check outside and I was walking up to get my stuff set up and I heard her voice. And that is the first time that it had officially hit me since I got the call. And I was like, oh my God, I am here and I am going to open for Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo and 3,500 people. Like, how much better does it get for a 19-year-old who has been playing locally for a year and a half, 2 years at the most? So whatever, I went up and then she brought me, I was in some crazy, horrifying clothes that I wasn't ready to change into my outfit yet because it was 98 degrees outside. She took me up and I got on the stage, I did my mic check, and their tour manager and their management was so wonderful to me, so nice. And I actually gave them 2 of my shirts and a handwritten card, just thanking them. I gave that to their girl to take back to their trailer, just thanking them for giving me the opportunity and how I've literally been listening to their music since I was a child. And that if maybe they could peek their head out for a couple of my songs, it would mean the world to me. So whatever, I change, I go up, and I've never been in front of a more receptive crowd in my life. The energy was wild, and I can't even describe to you how silent it was when I was performing. And that blows my mind. In bars, sometimes it's incredibly loud and you have to turn your stuff up because people don't care. And I was just there and everybody was listening and cheered. And there were some songs where people were recording from the audience and I play them back and you almost can't hear me because so many people were singing along, which also means the world to me. And
yeah,
and I performed 2 of my originals as well. And I came off stage and I was crying the second I walked off stage. And Jen was back there, who was the woman that I worked with this whole entire process. And she was crying. I was like, why are you crying? I'm the one that needs to be crying. And she was like, well, 1, because I'm so proud of you. But 2, because Pat and Neil watched a very large set, like part of your set, and were so impressed. And like hearing that, like rock legends, to be impressed by you, that is
at 19.
exactly. it's life-changing. And they actually gave me 2 shirts as well. So I have 2 shirts in my closet that Pat and her husband Neil have hand delivered to me. And I didn't think I was going to talk to them. I was just kind of sitting back watching. I wanted to watch them go on stage, and then I was going to go back out and watch the show. And she came out to put her earpiece in, and she saw me and came right up to me and gave me the biggest hug and just told me how impressed and how proud she was to watch somebody my age doing what I'm doing and so well. And hearing that, like, oh my God, I still want to cry right now. And then her husband came up to me, and he was the bigger songwriter for the 2 of them. And he not only addressed my voice and my presence and my age, but my writing skill. And hearing that from such a prolific songwriter is mind blowing. The fact that he enjoyed a song that I wrote just was wild. And he gave me a hug as well. And I was like, wow, this day can't get better. And then he plays his opening guitar riff. They're about to walk on stage, and Pat looks at me and she goes, come on, I want you to come on stage with me. I want you to watch the show from on stage because you're a part of this.
Wow.
And I stood there, I was like,
you froze, yeah.
And she took my hand and she put me on the stairs right behind her. So she walked out, her husband walked out, their tour manager, and then me. And I sat in a rolling chair on the side of their stage while they performed their entire show. And halfway through the show, she stopped and gave a huge credit to me and said in front of the entire audience. And one of my favorite parts was my name was taped to the ground, and she didn't even have to look at it because we had already talked beforehand. So the fact she knew my name just means the world. And she, whatever, said what she had to say and just said how impressed she was and how she loved that I was doing what I was doing and going after my dream, and then looked at me on the side of the stage and said, bravo, my dear. And it was the most magical night of my entire life. And I am so grateful that so many of my people that I care about were there. The people that weren't, then that's okay too. But there were so many people. Like, I had hundreds of my closest supporters there, and that also meant the world. So it was the biggest day that I have ever been a part of, ever. It was wild. And after that, I just got so many contacts, so much publicity, and like I said, it's ever flowing. Even things come to me every single day. I meet someone new every day, and I meet a new contact every day, which is getting me somewhere else or some place closer. And it's so wonderful. And the year's not even over. Nope. I have more time. And like we were talking a little bit before we started recording, hopefully by the end of the year or the beginning of next year, I'm recording an EP with some of my favorite band members. And we're going to put that out just because so many people have requested some of my originals. And the fact that they want that to stream means a lot. So hopefully that will be a really wonderful ending to 2023, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, that experience, you have to leave that on top of the world and probably feeling like nothing can stop you.
I actually left with a headache because I had been there all day. And you know what? I was in my car driving home, and I was like, I had been there for probably 12 hours. It was sweltering hot. And I was like, I have the worst headache in the world, and I don't give a fuck because I just had the best day of my whole damn life.
Yeah.
And I am just going to live in this feeling for as long as my body will let me. And I hope I get to feel that feeling forever.
There are going to be more. I mean, I can't promise you that, obviously, but like, I just knowing you through our 50-minute conversation so far tonight, hearing your music, there's no doubt in my mind you are going to feel those experiences, and probably even bigger than that, believe it or not.
Fingers, and you know what, all I can do is work towards it and do my best. And if people continue to notice me the way that they are, then in my mind, I have a good shot. And because people have been so receptive and kind and helpful. And if people continue the pattern that they have been on, because not everybody's that way. I've met a lot of mean people. I've met a lot of crazy people. I've met a lot of very jealous, evil people.
There's gonna be
And
a lot more of those too. All of those are gonna be a lot more.
all I do is wish them the best.
Yeah.
All I do is wish them the best because I'm sorry that they can't be happy.
Yeah. You go, oh, bless your heart.
Yeah, it literally. And I don't even say it ironically. I
I
say
know.
it like, what? I really wish you the best in life because all I am doing is my best and I'm going out of my way to do what makes me happy. And I hope that you can do the same.
Yeah.
I go on, and if people continue being mainly as kind as they have been, then I'm set for a really wonderful path.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you mentioned original music, and I want to talk about your I think most recent single. The title of that is Like Before, available on all the streaming services. I have a tendency and a habit of hearing music and saying, "Oh, that sounds like blah blah blah."
Yeah,
I have that's just what I do.
of
Um,
course.
I when I heard the song, it sounds like something, and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds like." I couldn't put my finger on it, but I stopped myself. I'm like, don't try and do this. Don't try and compare it to another artist. Like, let it just be what it is, right?
Yeah.
So the single is, like I said, called Like Before. It's a
Yes.
beautiful song. It's the harmonies in it are amazing. Your
Thank you.
voice in it is amazing.
Thank
Um,
you.
I don't think a lot of artists want to talk about the meaning behind certain songs. They want to kind of leave it open to interpretation, but I feel like this song might have like a direct meaning. If I'm wrong on that, then just say so and say you want to move on past that. But like if there's a meaning behind it that you want to talk about, please let me know.
I will say, with as much media that there is today, there are a lot of things in my life that I do my best to keep private. As such stuff that comes at us. The song is specifically written about a real experience in my life. However, I am not going to talk about it just because a big thing with my songwriting is I want people to be able to interpret it in a way that means something to them. I don't want to taint your view because of what I wrote it or how I viewed that song.
That's
So,
fair.
and I do that with all my songs actually. So I've probably in my lifetime written at least 150 songs. And I have, I think as of yesterday, 39 complete songs that I play out at gigs. And most, I do have 4 songs on all streaming services, and most of them are bad because I did 2 of them when I was 16, one of them when I was 17, and in my bedroom by myself with no equipment. And then like before, it was still done on the same stuff. My voice is a little bit more mature. But
Mature, that's
still,
the word. Not
you
weathered, not old, mature. That's the word. I'm sorry.
I also want to let you know this is awful buzzkill, and this should not be a view of how I am in real life, even though it kind of is. My device is at 10%, just warning you.
That's okay.
Because I'm one of those. Because I'm one of those.
That's all right.
Um, and it's okay. I mean, I'll go as long as I can.
We'll
Um,
wrap up shortly.
I think I still have time.
Okay.
So, but so and then like before was my most recent. I think 2021 it came out. Or 2022. I don't even. I think it's 2021. I don't know actually.
Well, I
It's
mean, if
awful.
spot you talk, I'll look it up if Spotify's accurate.
Okay, at least Spotify is accurate. I think it's 2022 actually. But yeah. So
It says
that
2023.
what? Oh, maybe
That's
it
what it
was 20.
says.
Actually, it is. I'm a complete liar. I just have a concept of time when I'm so busy.
You're too busy meeting Jelly Roll and Pat Benatar and all these.
I am. I can't agree with stuff like that. So yeah,
Okay.
I was 23 actually. But with bad equipment, just me, my harmonies, and my guitar. So I did my best. So to be able to get to a real studio, I'm actually viewing it tomorrow. I am so excited to have
So
something that I'm really going to be proud of.
hold on. Like before, is bad?
Well, no, it's not bad. It's just badly produced
But
because,
that's what you think. You think it's
yeah,
badly okay.
I
I
do.
mean, for badly produced, the song sounds pretty awesome. So I am excited for, you're talking about a studio and you're going to view that tomorrow. I'm excited for that. for you too. Like that's amazing.
And to have actual backup musicians. So I'm bringing my bass player and my drummer. So that's Ben Roper and Chuck Grabowski. They're going to play as well. And I'm thinking I have a few more musicians in mind that I think are also going to join that I cannot wait. But so for it not to just be me, I'm so excited. And yeah, and I don't think it's not that I'm not proud. I am so proud of all the music I have out because it takes a long time to put it together and write and to like compose.
Mm-hmm.
So I am very proud. But you know what? I already have the dream and I already have the vision. I have the intention years from now, re-recording the songs I already have out in a good studio with good equipment that doesn't um, involve GarageBand and a set of headphones.
Right.
So I can't wait for that. But I can't wait for people to hear these new songs because, you know, as you age, you gain more wisdom. And I can't wait for people to hear some of the newest ones, actually.
I mean, if this is what you put out so far under the circumstances, I myself can't wait to hear. And again, I just kind of in disbelief that I haven't heard your name before. Recently within the past few weeks. I mean, like right now, September 11th. I don't want to blow up your spot here, but right as of right now, September 11th, you have 36 monthly listeners.
Yeah, and that's barely anything, but those 36 people, I am so grateful, I must say.
But I'm saying like I foresee in 6 months that number. I don't even know what number it could be. I just
I'm hoping. That's all I can do.
That's why I'm calling it out. I mean,
Okay.
for my
Beautiful.
5 listeners that listen to this show, I'm not blowing you up too big here.
How about I'll get 6 months and I'll tell you what that number is.
Well, that's why I'm saying it. I want an audio documentation.
Yeah, of course.
Because I just saw this now, just literally 5 seconds ago before I mentioned it. That seems low. So I'm excited to see what it could be in the next 6 months to a year.
You know, you never know where you're going to end up. You never know what's going to happen. So
I don't get caught up in the numbers when they're low either. So I don't want this number to discourage you. I'm sure it's not going to. But it'll change. It'll be like Oliver Anthony.
Yeah,
How about that?
I could only hope and pray.
He went from 3,000, I think it was like 3,000, maybe even less than that, maybe in the hundreds, to millions in a week.
Wild millions. Imagine, like literally waking up the next day and your life has changed. It's crazy.
Life's completely changed, and I again, your demeanor, the way you talk, the way you know the vision you have for your future. I mean, I can't imagine you not doing great things.
Thank you so much. That means a lot because that's what I want to do. You know,
it's amazing.
Thank you.
I know you're running on E here, so I
running on.
Before I let you go, I do want to ask you one question.
Of course.
What is your favorite album?
Hotel California, the Eagles.
Man, you're an old soul.
Yes, I'm going to see them October 15th. Can't wait. My favorite band in the whole world.
You're an old soul.
I am.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
I know you mentioned recording new music. It is September. We've got 4 months left of the year.
Yeah.
Anything big coming up this year outside of? I'm hoping you walk away with how many awards are you up for? At least 6, 7, 8.
Did we say? I think it's.
I hope you come back. I mean, 100% is like unrealistic, right? Like,
no, there's no way I'm gonna win all of them. If I that would be incredible. That would be insane. Even if I don't win, I actually don't even care because I am.
It doesn't.
I am so grateful to have been nominated. I am so grateful that people have recognized me enough to nominate me.
That's all that matters. Sometimes that's the award right there. That people nominated you, they recognize your name. If you out of the 8 or whatever it is, if you said, you know what, if I won this one, that would mean the world to me, which one would that be?
It's hard because I'm so grateful to have been nominated for all of them. I think Best Female Vocalist is a big one up there for me. That's such a high
Okay.
honor to be called a Best Female Vocalist. Of course, that, like before, if that, I mean, like I said, I don't think that's produced well, but if by some incredible long shot that won Song of the Year, that will make me sob. And like I said, all of them, Best Live Performer or Best like Act of the Year, like they're all incredible. Like if I win one, I will be more than grateful. I will be more than grateful. And I'm up against so many incredible people as well. So I'm going to be so happy whoever wins.
Yeah.
So really, I actually, I can't wait. I
Well,
can't wait.
this area, I mean, I say it, I feel like every episode that I do, this area is it's constantly putting out great music, great artists.
Yeah.
When I had a radio show and I was featuring, 10 to 12 artists every
Yeah.
Saturday night, I mean, that was so special to me because
Sure.
I was just like, it's crazy this much talent lives in this area. And I
Yeah.
said I would put this area up against any other city in the country.
So much talent. There's so much talent.
Yeah, and it's just like, being able to be part of it in the small capacity that I've been able to force my way into. I mean, I can't be more thankful. So again, thank you for taking the time tonight to
Thank you for having me. I
yeah.
mean,
But what else do you have going on this year? Real quick, and I'll let you go.
so I mean, I am booked every weekend until December. So, I mean, if you follow my Facebook page or really any of my social media, you just look up Gracie Jane Sinclair, it comes right up. I always post my schedule on there. So mainly like just some wonderful gigs on the weekends. And then, like I said, hopefully recording my EP. I think that's really what I'm going to get into. And I'm always songwriting. So I'm really going to focus on that because I want that to turn out as wonderful as I can make it. So I think that's going to be my big task for the end of this
Sure.
year.
That's awesome. And guess what? If the music thing doesn't work out, get into radio or TV because
Done.
your voice is, I mean, is perfect for both.
Thank
Um,
you.
you don't have a face for radio, so I would push you more towards TV. But if TV didn't work out, I mean, radio would be a good spot too.
Thank you very much.
But no, thank you very much. Like I said, hopefully after this airs, you'll have at least one Steamtown award in your pocket. I would imagine there's going to be a couple to a few. Um, hopefully I'll see you. I should be there on Thursday.
Maybe I'll see you in person for real.
Yeah, that would be very nice. But again, thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Best of luck with everything you do. I mean,
You.
you have a bright future ahead of you. And
Thank you.
again, everything, your demeanor, your voice, everything, your vision, your attitude, you have everything it takes to get to that next level. And you should be proud of that. Your parents should be proud of that. And I'm excited to see. I mean, like again, this number on your social media followings and your the Spotify's and shit like that. I can't wait to see those, jump substantially.
I can only hope. Really. Really, all I could do is continue to work the way I am and hope.
It's all it takes. Just got to keep pushing along.
I agree.
Gracie Jane Sinclair, your real name.
That's my real name.
Thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Thank you so much, Popco. It was so wonderful meeting you and to be here.
We'll see you Thursday.
See you Thursday. How about
All
that?
right. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.